As an artist, it can be infuriating when something isn't blending or showing up how you want it. Your instinct is to keep working at it until you fix it. I just want it to be, feel, look better now. Big mistake. Anyone want to guess what awaits you on the other side of that pressured process? Hey everyone, how's it going? I'm Kira Wackett. Thanks for joining me for another video as we work to empower and equip you with the confidence and skills to write your own story so that you can live your life on purpose. Today, we're hitting on one of my favorite responsive techniques, the 24-hour rule. We are always in a rush to talk about or fix things. The distress we feel for our own and others' suffering mounts itself like a tidal wave that crashes down on us, and the idea of leaving something hanging feels like an impossible task. I've done this more times than I can count. I've found reasons to text or call someone because I couldn't read how they felt at the end of a conversation. I've sat frantically refreshing my emails to see if a response has come in from a boss or a coworker because the unknown of what they're thinking or feeling has shackled me to my anxiety. I've pushed my husband to stay up way later than either one of us wanted to because we have to solve this arbitrary whatever this is, right now. But where does that sense of urgency come from? It has to do with allowing our emotions to drive the bus. Emotions are a natural response to any situation or experience. They're extremely powerful. They can shift our thoughts, disrupt connections, and take a blah day to amazing or a great day to crap, all in one fell swoop. And they're meant to be fleeting and transient. I can't expect to feel happy all the time. And on the flip side, fear, shame, and sadness don't last forever either. But it's hard to remember this when they come in with a force, surging through them that seems to outweigh any rational or logical thought. They create a sense of reactivity, fueled by fear and shame, leading us to think that if we don't do something right now to solve the issue at hand, then essentially our world is going to fall apart. Someone's going to be mad at you. You may not have a job tomorrow, you'll get fired. Your husband or your partner won't sleep as well, or ultimately, you may not sleep as well. We may have to sit in the distress and feel a feeling that we can't fix. And no one likes that. But does it honestly help when we push so intensely? Does it work to dig deeper into a hole or a wound or to press about a situation or experience to process something that may never have been there? No, it's not an all or nothing answer. Sometimes it might be exactly what's necessary to get past the avoidance and disconnection. My husband and I ran up against this early in our relationship. No matter how much space he was given, it would always feel like he was fueled by his emotions because he hadn't been given the opportunities prior to our relationship to really sift through and dialogue about his thoughts and feelings. We worked through a lot of this by sitting in the thick of it together. And that isn't the only time that those things have been hard. In the moments where I can feel myself leading an interaction with an emotion, I have to step back and recognize that I'm not going to be able to get out of it what I need and want or give the other person that either. My thinking is too rigid. My brain is focused on repairing the disconnection at all costs without thinking about how I really feel and what I want or need. In these moments, I tend to be fueled by my shame. Its defense is repelling any sense of connection and repair at every turn. I either take a passive, people-pleasing role where I absorb the wrongdoing as my own, and I work to make everything okay for the other person. Or I enter what my husband calls the spin zone, where passive aggressiveness and protective manipulation work to make it all the fault of someone else, so that there's no possibility that I would be guilty, and as such, unworthy of love and connection. Now, either stance leaves me and the other party feeling incomplete and often hurt. I wonder what else is there. I think about things I wish I could have said or would have said. I feel disappointed in the way I responded. I never reflect and feel like how I responded was congruent with how I feel and what my assertive self would say. All of this came together to invite me to show up differently. If I don't like how this feels in the moment and after, when I am reacting in a way that is so hurtful or harmful to myself and other people, I need to change my response pattern. Enter the 24-hour rule. We need to learn to sit with our own and others' distress. Anxiety, shame, fear, all of these emotions are normal, and they don't have to dictate our lives. They don't have the final say about who we are and our place in the world, and I get it. They think they're being helpful, but they're not. Whenever I feel consumed by my anxiety and assume an urgency about what I need or should do, I disconnect. If I find myself drafting an email immediately to someone because I'm worried about what will happen if I don't, I save the draft and shut it down. I take a break if I can feel myself getting elevated in a conversation or assuming one of my shame-based roles. When I find my brain incapable of putting me on the same platform as the other person or people, meaning that each of us has our own space, place, and safety, because I'm putting them either below me or above me, I take a break. How long? As the rule suggests, 24 hours. That's it. That's all I'm asking of myself, to sit with the distress for 24 hours. It's like waiting to paddle your kayak until after the choppy waves from the people on the jet skis who got way too close and don't follow the rules in a no-wake zone settle down. Your emotions are like the jet skiers. They don't care about the effect it's going to have on you in that moment. They're just here for the main event. Let them get bored and walk away, or at least sit down next to you rather than stand in front of you, blocking your ability to be present. Now, is this hard? Absolutely. I hate sitting down and letting shame, anxiety, fear, and anger all talk, or rather scream at me throughout that break. Sometimes I draft emails and letters to the other person. Sometimes I talk to myself in the mirror, pretending that I'm saying what my emotions wanted me to say, so I can at least feel like I'm moving them through my body. And I survive that time. I make it through that break just fine. It's painful, but not like what I think it's going to be. The ambiguity of it was worse than getting through it. In fact, the relief I feel when I'm able to see the waves settle and I can clearly see what I want from an interaction feels so much better than giving into the pressures that had plagued me in the moment and reacting to that other person or whatever dynamic is getting keyed up for me. When I take this space, I can enter a conversation and be more assertive. I'm more able to hear the other person. I can create space to process. The interaction feels better because it feels lighter. And that doesn't mean that anger or fear or shame doesn't show up, but they're a part of the conversation, not the guiding forces, and more easily recognized by me in the moment. My husband and I have talked about what this rule has done for our relationship, and he told me that he used to feel like I had an unfair advantage because I knew how to talk about emotions and that he needed time to catch up. He talked about feeling like there were times he would get away with things because of how my shame guided an interaction, or where he felt like he could have been more assertive, but wasn't clear in that moment about what he even wanted and needed to ask for, or honestly how I was making him feel because I was really just shutting him down. We talked about feeling like this rule has given us more balance. We both show up to conversations with open hearts and minds and a respect to be honest with each other. We can hold space for the possibility of being wrong or being upset or hurt without needing to hold shame at the forefront and recognizing that we are okay, even if in the moment we don't feel okay. This space has equalized us. Now, as you take this into your own life, I want to give you just a few quick tips. First, set a time or make a plan for when you're going to come back to the conversation. As much as you might want to, you can't just dip in the middle of a conversation without saying something. Close the loop, whether in email, text, or person. Set a time that you're going to get back to them or ask them if you could return to this in the future. If you're doing this over an email or text conversation, you could simply say something like, I'm going to take some time to think more about everything that was shared. I'll get back to you tomorrow. Or you can honestly say nothing. You can hold the information, let the conversation be for a little bit, and come back when you're ready. Email and text are passive and asynchronous forms of communication, so it's okay to take some space without explaining right away in the moment what's going on. Now, an in-person or over-the-phone response will look a little different. Here, we want to make sure we do say something instead of just walking away. So you could try something like, I can feel myself getting activated. I need to take a break from the conversation. Would it be okay if we picked this back up after dinner? Now, the second tip is to try to make sure that follow-up conversation is happening in a direct way. in person or over the phone, not in that asynchronous communication. And you might get pushback. Sometimes somebody is unwilling to go in person or have that direct communication. But whenever possible, try to take it offline and talk directly. Context and subtext is hard to read in emails. Tone, nonverbals, eye contact, all these things are lost in electronic communication. And we all know email and text has become something we do while multitasking with 3 or more other things. Too many distractions are going to take us from being able to really sit and respond the way that we might if we truly showed up to the interaction, both really being mindful of ourselves and the other party. So even if it feels difficult, you owe it to yourself to have that direct interaction. Third, use I statements. When you come back to the conversation, lead from your perspective. Let them know how you feel, what you need and want from them, and the interaction, and how you understand what they're saying, need, and want. We can only speak from our experience and perspective. Telling someone what they did or leading with you only creates more defenses. My key phrase here is, when X happened, I felt blank. Then you can follow it up with a question, a request, a need, a clarification, whatever that looks like. And 4, if you need more time, take it. Sometimes we come back to a conversation and it's clear we're still very activated, or we notice the other party is, which is in turn activating us. It's okay to own that and to take another break. And if this person or topic keeps activating you, it's okay to put that out there. Say something like, this is a tough topic for me to discuss without getting upset. I'm working on it, and I want you to know that this might be hard for me whenever we discuss it. All right, that's it for today. So be sure to leave a comment with what you're taking with you and any other tips and tricks that you can add to help others in their quest to becoming less reactive in their interactions in that comment section below. If you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to hit both that thumbs up button and the subscribe button to get an alert anytime there are new videos released. And if you aren't yet on my AR Insider emails, click the link in the show notes and get yourself on that list so you can get exclusive content that I don't share anywhere else. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Remember, you have the right to author your own story. So let's go get that pen back. I'll see you next time.